Hi. So, another weekend, another time for an update. And if we begin by looking at my weight, we see that I'm back to 93 kilograms from last week when I was about 94. And I guess that's good. Um, so, I wanted to talk a bit about a certain thing today about candy versus other kinds of snacks and stuff like that. So here I'm including chips and the different kinds like nuts and stuff like that versus regular candy, candy bars or any other kind of sweets, really. And it's pretty obvious to me after this week that candy is really, for me, the big problem, at least compared to other kinds of typical junk food and unhealthy food. So this week I actually did have some chips and some how do you put it? Some unhealthy snacks. But I didn't have any candy, no real candy. I didn't really eat much sugar. So there was a point where I had some cake as part of, a broader fika moment, but nothing major, really. And I thought about it when I ate, some chips, that it was quite remarkable the fact that I didn't eat as much chips as I would have eaten candy in a regular setting if I didn't think about it myself, or if I didn't sort of self-report or self-police myself. Because as it turns out, eating a lot of, say, chips is a lot harder than eating a lot of candy. Say that I want to eat 500 grams of candy. I could easily do that in a day. Easily. But eating 500 grams of chips, that would actually be quite challenging. Because first off, the volume I would need to consume would be a lot bigger. So I would need to buy a lot more chips. And there you have a big difference between candy and other kinds of unhealthy food. It's quite dense weight-wise. So you can actually eat what looks like not so much of it and still get a bunch of energy from it. So you can eat one candy bar, and even though it seems insignificant at the time, there is a lot of calories contained within that one single bar. And when you eat chips, it's a lot different, because if you eat the same weight in chips, it looks like a lot more that you're eating. So then it's a lot easier to intuitively understand that it's filling you up. And this is something I did realize this past week, when I sort of ate some chips, and I ate about 150 grams in one sitting, or a little bit less than that, and I realized, wow, this is sort of it. I shouldn't be eating more. But I wouldn't have realized that, after 150 grams of candy, I would never have realized that, oh, this is enough, unless I'm really being careful and really considering what I've been eating very carefully. I would not have registered that in the same way that I can intuitively do with other kinds of bad food. So for me, it's pretty obvious that candy is a big component when it comes to my food addiction, if you may. It's one of the biggest factors, and it's no surprise, really. When it comes to my food addiction, it largely has to do with sugar, and it revolves around sugar in major ways. If I eat sugar, then I end up in trouble. So I really should be careful about that, especially processed sugar. And once again, we can talk about like sugar in fruits versus sugar in sweets. The point here is not that the sugar within a fruit is so much more healthy than that instead of a candy bar. But rather, there is less of it per weight in the fruit, and it's a lot harder to gain access to it for your body. So even though it's good, it tastes nice to eat, say, an orange, it's a lot harder to gain a massive amount of calories from that than it is from candy bars. Simply because you have to eat so much less of a candy bar to get the same amount of energy you get from one orange. So I've been eating oranges and it's been great, but it's not the same as previous weeks when I was sort of going ham with candy. Not at all. It's a huge difference. And I can even feel like, I'm not surprised that I lost weight since last week, because I can feel a hunger. Like almost all the time, I feel slightly hungry because I'm not eating as much as I did. And it's so simple. So I'm really just thinking, okay, how do I keep up not buying unhealthy food? Because at the end of the day, it's so easy to buy unhealthy food, and that's part of the reason why I've started doing it so much lately. It's so easy. And as I've mentioned before, these self-checkouts, they're probably not for me, at least not for a while, because it just makes it so easy. It facilitates these poor food habits in such a way that I don't think it's a good idea for me to be using them, even though sometimes they're really convenient. So this past week I've been trying to just go and use the regular checkout with staff on hand. And it's been working fine, I guess. Actually, no big problem there. But it does make a difference. And I think it's important to recognize these things that may seem trivial at some point. So, with that out of the way, let's look at what my body shape is currently like. And we shouldn't really have big differences from last time, but I hope that this will sort of start marking a trend of me going in the right direction when it comes to my diet, because like this past week really worried me, really showcased that I was going in the wrong direction and that I needed to get a grip. And I hope that I can finally start getting back that grip, because now it feels a lot easier. It's always like hardest to actually just begin. Once you get the ball rolling, it's a lot easier to keep it rolling. And that's definitely something I'm noticing when it comes to not eating candy every day like a crazy person. The first week is the toughest, and I would always think to myself, like, at the back of my mind, like, I could be eating some candy right now. I could be doing this. I could buy some candy, I could do it. And I had to sort of push back those impulses. Every time I went to the store, I had to sort of forcibly push those impulses away. It's dangerous, but I'm hoping that, as I managed to do during the first couple of weeks during this challenge, I managed to sort of push those thoughts away, eventually successfully. And I'm hoping to be able to do the same again. But we'll see. Time will tell what happens. And hopefully things start trending in the right direction right now, once again. Because when it comes to the hernia, it's not completely over, but it's getting better. Definitely better now. I basically have the pain up here where the ischias nerve begins, but it's a lot less pronounced throughout my leg, even during the day. Even when it's at its worst, it's not that horrible. So, yeah, I have no excuses now. I don't have anything that really holds me back from focusing on other aspects of my health, I think, now. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes now until New Year's, and then I'll sort of reevaluate the entire thing, and then we'll see where to go from there. So, until next time, have a good one. Goodbye.